Hello, welcome back to my garden. No big projects for today. Just didn't have anything scheduled. Just didn't have anything lined up or anything prepared. And I think that's okay, because not every day in the garden has to be a project. Sometimes we just need to do things. And maybe that is a project into itself. I'm not sure. Either way, yesterday I went out into the garden and I started filming. And I was trying to make something out of nothing. And by that I mean, I was really just in the garden doing weeding and deadheading over in the flower garden, which is something that I needed to do because the flower garden I haven't let it go, but there's so many things that I still need to do in the flower garden. I'm playing catch up. If you're new to the channel, if you've stumbled across this channel, my name is Jason. I'm building a garden here in Eastern North Carolina, growing zone 8B now, I think. It's changed. It used to be 8, I think it's 8B now. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm a one-man band who is not only building this garden, but maintaining the garden and planting everything and mowing and then making these videos and editing these videos. So what happens is more often than I would like, things sort of fall to the wayside. A few years ago, the rose garden got really overgrown with weeds and it became an utter nightmare, and it became a project to bring it back to a point where it's now more acceptable and it's more under control. And this year, actually, the rose garden is doing very well. And I think that's a combination of just me staying on top of the weeds, mulching, and the care that I've been giving to the rose garden. And hopefully, eventually, I hope the flower garden gets to the same level, and I think it will. But there's still a lot of work to do there. And as I said a second ago, I just spent a part of the day, a few hours, out in the garden, just trying to cut things back, pull weeds. And as I cut certain plants back, I was able to find more weeds, so I had to pull those weeds. And then your mind starts thinking, and if I'm wrong or if I'm saying anything that doesn't make any sense to you guys, let me know in the comments below. But I'm also thinking of, okay, now I've had all these gaps open up. What do I need to plant here? The deer have nibbled on the zinnia, which they're really not supposed to, because my understanding is zinnia is a deer-resistant plant. But if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But they have been nibbling on the zinnia, so I'm thinking, do I plant zinnia out in the flower garden again next year? Because I really like to, but maybe I won't now. I'm always thinking about what I could be doing differently or improving, or just trying to make the garden the way I want the garden to be. Trying to achieve that goal of that completed and finished garden. Well, the garden will never be finished, but getting it to that point where I have to do less weeding and less maintenance, things like that. Yeah, so I was just came out here to the vegetable garden and I just got done watering my seedlings. And there's one other thing I'd like to do that has been nagging at me for a while out in the flower garden, and I'm going to take you guys along with me. But before I do that, I have a quick important message. As many of you know, if you've been watching the channel for a while, or if you're new to the channel, I have a lot of birdies beds. I have had wooden raised beds, and I've had brand name wooden raised beds, and I've had wooden raised beds that I've bought off of places like Etsy, where they were made by excellent craftspeople. Don't get me wrong, but these beds are just fantastic. So if you've ever thought about getting yourself a birdies bed, now is the time to do it. Between August 27th, that's Tuesday, and Monday, September 9th, Epic Gardening is having a up to 30% off sale. So you can get a Birdie's garden bed for up to 30% off. You can get 25% off on seed starting and grow bags. You can get another 20% off on green stalk vertical planters. And if you buy a bundle of 3, you get 1 for free. So that'd be 2 Birdie's beds plus 1 for free. And on top of all that, if you want to save yourself an additional 5% off on top of the 33% or the 30% or the 25%, whatever it is you decide to buy from the Epic Gardening store, use the code GROWING to save yourself an extra 5% off on top of all those other things that I mentioned. So this is the best time. If you ever thought about getting yourself a Birdie's bed, this is the time to do it. So what are you waiting for? Go out and get yourself some Birdie's beds, and don't forget to use the code GROWING. All right, so now all that said, let's go out to the flower garden and do the one thing that I really wanted to do yesterday that I didn't do, it's been sort of nagging me. So let's go. So this section of the flower garden has been nagging me for a while, and the biggest reason is because a lot of things here have died. We did have that sort of drought in June. The seedlings suffered, and you can only do so much watering with a hose. Some plants have survived, but very few. And I'm left with a field of white tags letting me know where all my failures were. So I'm going to take a second here, and I'm just going to pull up all these white tags. Some of these were annuals, such as zinnias. Others were perennials. Some of these are hanging in there, and I just went through last night and I gave the garden a water in the hopes that whatever's left here will survive. But there are a lot of empty tags here. Oh, there's a lot of dead plants. I'm not even going to count that. It's just sad and disappointing. But with all of those plants that didn't make it, it has opened up spaces in the flower bed itself, so I can start thinking about maybe what I want to do there next year. And if there are any plants, perennials, that do survive through till next year, maybe I'll dig them up in the spring and I'll relocate them to a different location, and maybe I'll do something completely and radically different in that space over there. Not every day in the garden is a rosy day. I've had a rough time this year with my dahlias. As I said, my rose garden is actually doing pretty good, and the deer have actually killed some of my other plants, which I didn't expect them to. But I think the most important thing out of all of this is just to try to keep a positive attitude and not look at the negative and think that's the end, because it's not. It's just another step. It's like you're walking down the street and you step on a piece of gum. Yeah, it sucks that you stepped on a piece of gum, but do you stop walking? No, you just keep going down the road. Maybe you do a little sticky walk kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about, when the gum's stuck to the bottom of your shoe. But you keep moving on, or you fix it by removing the gum from the bottom of your shoe. So I think that's just the way I look at this here in the garden, is that if there's failures or mistakes I've made or things like that, I just try to look at it and go, okay, how am I going to fix this? Or okay, that didn't work. What can I do differently next year? That kind of thing. Yeah. And some of these things are out of our control because of the weather, but other things we can do better or learn from our mistakes. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Let's head back to the veg garden. So no big projects today. I'm sorry if you're looking forward to watching me do some sort of big project, but as I said, I was just trying to do some cleanup and other maintenance, as it were, over in the flower garden. And I still have a lot to do. I'm just not going to bore you guys with all that deadheading and weeding. But I'm going to get there, and hopefully I'll get there by the end of the week. Hey, did you know it's International Dog Day? I didn't know it was International Dog Day until I was looking at my Instagram a little bit ago. Hi, Sophie. Yeah, you're a puppy. Yes, it's International You Day. But I saw International Dog Day and I said, you know what? I have a puppy here. And she is an awesome garden helper. And in fact, actually, she's looking forward to getting some green beans, because my green beans are producing quite nicely now. So we're going to go get some green beans. But before we go get the green beans, I just want to say, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video, because you never know when I am going to do a next project. And I have so many projects to do here around the garden. I just have to figure out what I'm doing next and get going with it. But the next video you guys see will be my 500th video. That's right. I can't believe I've actually made 500 videos in I think I've been here on YouTube for about 4.5, 5 years, something like that. I don't know the exact time. I know I started making videos back in 2019. But either way, my 500th video is coming up. I'm going to try to do something special for that, so stay tuned for that. I think we're going to do a little montage, look at where I have come from, where I started from, and where this garden started from, and where we are today, and where hopefully we're going to be going tomorrow, because there's still a lot to do, and this garden is far from finished. So with all that being said, Sophie and I are going to go get some beans. We're going to catch you on the next one. Right, Sophie? Bye-bye.